Okay,
Hello and welcome, everyone.
welcome
Welcome,
back.
indeed. Welcome to our second episode, which is also our first episode because somehow we messed up the naming convention.
Well,
So
no, it's we didn't mess it up. It's one of the recording systems we use starts its numbers on Red Circle from 1, but then the tool we actually use to record allows us from 0, and we thought we'll start with 0 because the first one is more like an intro. Um, so we didn't actually screw up. It's just different systems,
it's not a fault, it's a feature. That's what you're trying to say.
if I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually quite analogous to different processes from the same company that collide and make your life hell. So nothing new here.
Yeah.
We just carry on.
Business
Anyway,
as usual. Indeed.
business as usual. Exactly. So, would you like to go through just a rough overview of today, or
Just like that, straight into it. No weather talk, no coffee break. Straight to business. Okay. Okay, I see
straight to
how it is.
business?
I see how it is. Fine. Diving right into the agenda.
I mean, I do live in Germany. The people
Uh,
here jump right into it, so no
yeah.
dilly-dally.
No dilly-dally, no fun,
That's
no
not
humor.
a knock against Germans, though. It is effective, so I'm not gonna complain.
Oh, yes, you are. Right, so in the spirit of efficiency, what are we talking about today? So the whole theme of today is corporate versus startup. But
Yeah.
before we dive right into that, I thought, Adi, let's have a bit of a touch point and see how
Yes.
many corporate buzzwords we can squeeze into this episode, actually. Um,
Oh God.
let's let's see how we're feeling today. What's the mood like? And also, I think I wanted to start a little something that I like to call the corporate rant of the week. So let's talk about something that really got our gears grinding this week at work, or obviously corporate related. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rant. If you have something positive you want to share and something positive has happened to you, first of all, I envy you, and I am jealous. And secondly, please feel free to share. But
Wait,
yeah,
why are you jealous?
because good things are happening to you in the corporate world, whilst at the moment I'm just swimming through a hellfire. That's why I'm jealous.
Happening to me in the corporate world? Who told you that?
I just said if something good happened to you,
Oh,
then I
oh,
am
oh, oh,
jealous,
if. Okay,
and
okay, okay. Gotcha.
but still feel
Well,
free
no
to
need to
share.
be jealous. We can share the pain. I do have a highlight and a rant, so I'll keep it short, but I'll go first. First, I'm feeling really good because we are recording this on a Friday evening, so it's fantastic. Um, although I have other work, it's not like just because it's a Friday evening I can go get wasted and do stuff. That's not the case. Um, but rant of the week. I am getting increasingly frustrated that certain people, no names, of course,
Obviously, yeah.
just people in general. There are always people
Hmm.
who think they're customer oriented and helping the customers and clients and whatnot. Um, but they aren't because it always ends up becoming just giving the customer what they want rather than understanding the customer and what they need. You know what I mean? There's a big difference there.
Okay, yeah.
Like the customer, if they're going through some pain or having some technical issue, the need would be that we, as more experienced people, would go in and help them out and help them solve the problem and make sure it doesn't happen again on their side as well. So that will make our life also easy when we deliver our final product or whatever it is that we're delivering.
Hmm.
The want is customer says, "Oh, I want this, and this on this date and this time," and just do that, like nothing else. Oh,
No questions
here's your
asked.
component. It's not even fully complete. We haven't finished all these like tests and checks that we need to do in the end, but because you needed it so urgently, here you go. Bam, done.
And let me guess, that never comes to bite us back in the ass when something's when we give the customer
Not
exactly
at
what they want
all.
and they realize it
Yes,
doesn't
yes,
do
not at
what they
all.
need.
It never comes back. Everything goes super smooth if you catch my sarcasm. But yeah, so that's my rant of the day, and my highlight of the day is I was actually speaking with a customer today. As you know, I'm from India,
Hmm.
and there's a war going on in India right now, or
Pretty
India and
much everywhere in the
Pakistan.
world, but yes.
Yeah, right, exactly. And this is the newest one. And it just so happened that in the call with the customer, those guys were also Indians, basically. I mean, they're not living in India, but they were
Hmm.
from India. The meeting became so efficient that we finished all the topics we needed to discuss within the first 10 to 15 minutes. And the remaining 20 minutes, we actually went overboard over the time. It was just a half an hour meeting. We went over the time and we were discussing the war and we were all like jiving together. It was quite nice.
Oh,
So
that's
that's my
nice.
highlight of the day. Yeah, not bad.
So what you're saying is that war and violence brings people together, if I understand you
let's
correctly.
let's not go there. That's a whole other podcast in itself. Your turn. Go. Your turn.
Ooh, I think my biggest rant this week, as you know, with the 1st of May has just come and gone, and a lot of bank holidays and bridge days and stuff like that. I really have a chip on my shoulder this week with proxies and like either lack thereof or too much responsibilities being thrown around on proxies. Like I have two specific instances that come to mind.
Yeah.
One is where obviously, you're at work, you need to get hold of a guy because customer says something's very, very urgent, and you try to reach the guy you really need to talk to, and you're being hit with that automatic out of office message. And
Yeah.
luckily, there is a proxy in that out of office message. So normally, you just jump straight to the proxy and be like, okay, this is urgent, I need help. And
Yeah.
then the proxy is out of office, and their proxy is the first guy that's already out of office. And
Yeah. They proxy each other and then
and then the only option is to just go to their manager because he's the idiot who approved that mess to let them both go at the same time. Um, so that's rant number one. Rant number two is when you're proxying for someone and you get a tiny bit of handover right before they leave. And they're like,
yeah.
oh, these are the two or three major topics, and this is what you're supposed to do. And, they say, oh, nothing major is supposed to happen for the next couple of days or weeks or forever long they're gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, they're off and away, and you go around minding your own business, doing some of the topics they ask you to take care of while they're away. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, all shit hits the fan, and it's like nobody trained me for this, It's like issues popping up and acronyms I never heard before, and people are coming to me like, "You're the proxy. Can you give a decision on God knows what project?" I'm like, I don't even understand what half of those words mean, And it's like, how am I supposed to proxy this and then be efficient if I can't even
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
requirements? So,
It's multiple layers that comes piling upon you. I know this all too well. This happens quite a lot in Germany also,
yeah, because your guys are always
especially
on holiday.
well, not me. Trust me. Last year, I couldn't take a single day of holiday until the very end of the year, and my boss actually like came to me during August or something, and he's like, "You need to go on vacation. Like, you need to leave now. Like, go." Don't. So trust me, I'm not one of them.
That's your
But
own
yeah, it
fault.
happens all the time here that people just flip out.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Anything else you want to get off your chest before we go on?
that could be a whole therapy session on it. Like, I
I
feel like I
know.
could vent
Maybe we
for
should
the.
do that. Maybe we should do that.
But yeah, no, I think it is a Friday evening when we're recording this. I will have a few cold ones afterwards to just try and relax.
Please
I
do.
survived the week, and
Please
hopefully
do.
more people are gonna start coming back to work, so they'll start answering your emails.
I hope so. Monday is looking good. A lot of people do seem to be coming back. So I think it'll get better.
I have a lot of words for them, so yeah, that's fine.
It's your turn to harass them.
Oh boy, yeah. I hope they had a great time off because they're not gonna have a good time on their back. Right. I think that's enough with threatening people and yeah, launching violence.
or
Um,
or moaning and bickering about our lives.
yeah, we're at an age we can afford it. Um,
Yeah.
so how about we take a look into the main theme of today? So
Yes, startup versus corporate world. Yeah. Or
exactly.
business versus corporate world.
Indeed. So I think the whole point of this was, when we're setting up the podcast and we're talking about it, I think we made this joke, how would the podcast look like if we were to do it as part of our day jobs, and
Yeah.
as in follow the internal processes that we have in our company.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we started joking around about, how life, how it would look like, or how it is looking like if we're doing it as we are, sort of like a startup project, very lean, very agile. I'm running out of corporate bingo words.
Well,
Um,
well, yeah, go on. Sorry.
yeah, no, so I think the whole idea was just to talk a bit about the differences between the two worlds. And since you have been in the startup world before and now you're in the corporate world, I thought, you could be the
Yes.
the best person to share a bit of insight about the main differences, advantages and disadvantages.
Well, I don't know about the best person. That I mean, thank you, but that's certainly not. I'm not the best person for this.
On
But
this budget, you
I have
are.
I, between the two of us, I do have a little bit of more taste from the startup world as well. Yes. Um, First topic or first thing was if we were recording this in our day jobs, like for our day jobs, within our day jobs, clearly first there would be much stricter template, a much stricter or a more structured template that we would need to follow. And once it's followed, we would have to send it for approvals to multiple parties and multiple uh, departments and divisions and whatever else. And then once it was approved, then we could maybe upload it. And then once it's uploaded, we had to report the numbers. That would be the way.
And don't
But
forget, we would have like several meetings and approvals required just to align on the teams that are going to be presented and talked about in each episode.
oh yeah, oh yeah, that in it's like doing acquisition of an entirely new customer basically, and that's for each episode.
A-
Yeah.
And then corporate would have us re-record it like 17 times because they realized we cannot use certain words or certain expressions, or, I think half the things I said just in this episode already would get
Will
banned by
be, yeah,
HR or
yeah.
marketing. So,
Or the other thing would be that we, they wouldn't have the easy tools that we are using, like the pieces of software and the web apps that we're using to do the recording. And so we would have to do it manually, maybe even get a old tape recorder or some sort of like old school technology that no
I'm,
one ever uses,
I'm
record it, send it for editing. The editing is wrong, and the guy's on vacation. We need to find the proxy. He doesn't do a good job. Yeah, that would have been the story if we were doing it in the corporate world.
no, in my
Um,
company, they'll probably ask us to record it in Excel somehow, honestly. So,
anyway, so yes. Well, luckily that's not happening. We're able to freely use any tool we want. Um, so long as we keep things safe and compliant, I think we're okay. So
hopefully.
it's all good. Yeah, and it's going well. And that's exactly how I feel because in the startup world, there's literally like one or two people. You make all the decisions. You take the shortest path. You do what needs to be done to get new customers, to get new sales, whatever else you need to do. There
Hmm.
are no processes. That's the first thing. Um, but then that point is like a double-edged sword. On one hand, I can see why so many processes exist, especially in a big company like ours, and why it's needed. But on the other side, do become shackles at some point, uh, eh, depending on the project or depending on the customer or whatever it is. So I feel like there needs to be a happy medium, especially with processes, or it needs to be in a way that you can easily tailor it to the actual project or the product or the customer or whatever else. That way, if you want to make it lean, you make it super lean, barely anything else. Um, if not, then you need to, uh, if you have a bigger project, then you need to keep it as detailed as possible and go through everything. So it's that corporate world needs change or switch between making it lean and going back to being fully detailed, like the tailoring that needs
Hmm.
to be that needs to exist, which they try, but it doesn't work. Um, but on the corporate side, it's always nice to set up a few small structures and a few small processes from the beginning. That way, you can count on sort of steady growth because that's all you care about when you're in the startup world. You want to get more customers, you want to get more sales, and you need a little bit of a process. And I do that. So but finding a happy medium in the corporate world or like being able to easily tailor things is missing for me, I would say. I at least in my day to day. I
I,
don't know about you.
I
What do you
I would
think?
ask, what would you say, are the main benefits of the corporate mentality, of big corporate mentality compared to the to startup? Because I fully agree with you. I think corporate is really good at having those processes in place, and I'm sure they're for a very good reason, and they're proven to have been successful in the past.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, and for sure, like I said, no, it is this tailoring exercise and you know digging up the right amount of risk appetite and the desire to walk away from certain processes while still maintaining those processes are in the end are the ones that probably define that company. That company is where it
Correct.
is now because of that mentality and those processes.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
get it
Yeah.
why a lot of big companies don't want to walk away and completely change their approach or the processes. But I would say, what would you say are the biggest advantages of having that conservative mentality in the corporate world? What's your opinion on those?
Well, something happened today, and and that was completely a process related thing. We had a project where the project category was rated low, um, which means it's a very small project, nothing fancy, nothing big, no risks, no critical aspects. It's a simple and straightforward, take it here, put it there sort of project.
Hmm.
But because it was so small, I was under the impression that I could skip a few process steps without any problem. And I could. They said, yeah, that's fine. But the issue is, I should have informed people or gotten approval that I can skip those before actually skipping them.
Oh
Um,
boy.
and well, no, I mean, I didn't get into too much trouble because, nothing happened. Like it wasn't a big thing. It
Hmm.
really wasn't. And the person who caught it understood, and they were also happy to help me today. So it was really a positive experience. But see why they ask me to do that because if if a similar project comes up and the same sort of thing happens, they can guarantee that the outcome of that project because of these process steps will be more or less exactly the same. They know
Hmm.
what to expect, and that sort of predict predictability is a good thing for a big company because the entire reputation of the company is built on it, what it keeps delivering time and time again. And if
For
you
sure.
skip
Yeah.
these project steps, it will hurt, or the outcomes will be different, and it will hurt the reputation of the brand or the company. So I think that's the advantage.
Yeah.
Um, the the disadvantage, and this point is a little bit personal for me.
Okay.
It kills your creativity. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you like I when I did that process earlier this week, thinking that it'll be okay, there was a lot of creative input to that decision that I made.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to happen anymore, because now there is a process, and I know I have understood the process much more than I did before,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just have to follow it. I don't have a choice, and that
Your
kills my creativity. And
your
when you
wings
apply
have
that,
just been cut or
pretty much,
clipped.
yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Again, for the company, from the corporate standpoint, it's a good thing. But from a personal standpoint, it it's not so good, if I'm being polite.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why most people don't really associate, office work and corporate life with creativity and fun,
Exactly.
to be honest.
I mean,
Uh,
I'm sure there are jobs within our own company and in other departments where they have a process to even
they have a
make you
process to have
creative.
fun.
Yeah, and the process to have fun and make you creative. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, you and I don't have the luxury of being in that department. I wouldn't even know which department it is, but I don't,
Definitely
I don't.
not the engineering one, I can tell you that much.
No, 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 definitely not. Maybe the marketing folks.
Who knows? We'll have to find someone and ask them and see how much fun they have at work. But for me, I guess, going back to what you were saying, I think for me, yeah, the advantage of the corporate life is that stability, if you like. All those processes are there. Like it's like riding a bicycle with like
It is.
a million helping wheels. It's very very hard to fall off such a bicycle because there's like padding and it's over engineered to keep you safe. And that's, all great and fun if you know you don't necessarily feel like taking a lot of risk or a lot of chances with your life at a certain point.
Yeah,
And you're fine with operating in that team environment within the little sandbox of rules that your managers or the corporation draws for you when you start up.
exactly.
Whereas
Yeah.
the startup world, I think for sure it brings in, a lot more fun and a lot more creativity and enjoyment and freedom to do things however you see fit at any given
Yeah,
point.
it's almost completely the opposite. I just, you just have to completely, you have complete autonomy to do whatever else you want in the startup world, as long as the decisions you make help you get more customers and build your company. That's the only thing that matters.
And I think
And
that's
you
the
can
whole
do
point.
whatever else.
Yeah, all the great success stories and all the great decisions in the end are yours in the startup world. But on the flip side, also all the bad ones and all the mistakes are also 100% yours because
Exactly,
there isn't a
exactly. You're
process
fully
there
accountable. Yeah,
to teach you how to do it.
yeah, exactly. So th- there, there's neither that's wrong nor right. It is what it is. Neither is wrong, neither is right. But it just depends on what you prefer and how far you're willing to go to keep up with it. I
So,
think that really comes down to the final.
whereabouts would you like to be, Adi?
Uh, that's a tough one, man. Um, I
Yes.
think this goes back to what I was saying earlier. Uh, Ability to tweak and tailor these processes to suit the project or the customer or the product, I think that would be a good thing going forward, especially AI coming in that can, we can just feed an entire process to it and say, analyze this, pick out the bottlenecks, pick out this and that, tailor it for our customer, and then
Mm-hmm.
give me a trimmed version of this process, and I'll follow that. Things like that. If that can happen in our company within our time frame in the next couple of years, I think that would be really sweet.
So you would stay in the on the corporate side of things, just with a bit more tailoring and freedom for process improvement, let's call it.
Um,
Or
yeah, I mean, it should help the company as well. It's not just about me, This is a company with thousands of other people in it, so I can't just speak for myself. But it would encourage me to keep working and keep doing my job, maybe even climb the corporate ladder, work harder, whatever else. If these sort of modern changes, modern practices, modern tools can be implemented quick and used by people and deliver results while still keeping the brand name and quality and whatnot.
yeah, no,
That's where
that's
I would land.
fair enough. And to be honest, that just got me curious to see if I'm wondering now if other big traditionally very corporate brands out there are now going through a modernization process in the true sense of just of truly relaxing a bit and bringing in more out of the box ideas and approaches to the today, or are all major companies out there that are truly stuck in the old corporate ways, just doing the same old
Well,
things but with fancier names
well,
and different acronyms? I
well,
think,
I mean, I think at least now with the advent of AI, I think all these companies, doesn't matter which company or how, rigid and corporate structure they stick to, like it doesn't matter how hard and old school they are. I think they're going to have to adapt and change because if any, I mean, this goes for startups and big established companies. If you don't adapt and change with the times, you're going to go down fast. And AI is definitely one of those technologies, for example, that if you're not going to adapt on a daily level, like on a daily basis, it's going to hurt the company very fast, very soon.
yeah,
Um,
I don't know about you. I'm still saying please and thank you to ChatGPT every time I go near it, just in case in the near
I do
future it'll
too.
start. When robots decide they might want to kill us, I want them to remember me as the polite one at least. Maybe I'll go out fast.
I do too. Trust me. In fact, Sam Altman, the creator of OpenAI,
Yeah.
ChatGPT, he actually did a post recently on Twitter or X or whatever it's called today, or on LinkedIn. And he said, um, thank you and please are two things that are being used in ChatGPT that's actually costing them some crazy amount of energy and expense. But he said he'd rather have that expense than people just like yelling and screaming at the AI agents. So I'm with you 100% on that one.
Well, glad to know I can do my part in costing Sam Altman some money.
Some
Um,
money.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you using the free version of ChatGPT or are you using like the paid version?
No, no, no. I'm still not fully on board with the AI revolution. So whilst I'm using ChatGPT for some very basic stuff,
Yeah.
when it comes to, I don't know, rewriting emails or finding nicer ways of saying things or rephrasing stuff, those
Yeah.
things are things that I always was able to do pretty much on the spot. So in that sense, I'm my own GPT service.
Okay.
So never really felt the need to go beyond the free version for the bits and bobs that I was using
Gotcha.
it for.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Cool.
but yeah, no, I think it is a quite an interesting topic here, and like you said, definitely no right or wrong answer. It's all about
Yeah,
where
there's
on
no
the
right or
spectrum
wrong.
one feels about their risk appetite and their desire to play the long game in the corporate world, or risk
Yeah.
it a bit and maybe score big in
Also,
the startup world.
remember, like there are people that thrive on both sides. There are people who absolutely love getting up in the morning, going to work, doing their job, like getting promotions, like within like 5 years, 10 years, like they're the head of the department or the head of the entire division. They absolutely kill it. They love it.
Yeah.
There are others who just get to a position, they love it, they're happy there, they just stay there. And there are others who are like, no way, this is not for me at all, and then they go start their own business and they succeed with that as well. So, and then there are people that start businesses, but the businesses never really go anywhere, even years and years later. But they're still happy because they work for themselves and they do their own thing. And so there's all kinds of people and all levels to each side. There's no right or wrong answer. Just you just need to make up your own damn mind where you want to be now and 10, 20 years from now.
All I'm gonna
That's just my
say
take on it.
as a closure is that I 100% admire those who decided to take life in their own hands and start their own company and risk it all out there, because
It
personally,
is,
whilst I
yeah.
like the idea, it's something that I don't see myself doing for myself at least now, but also
Yeah,
not in
yeah.
the near future. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why hats off to everyone
And,
who
and
did
that's
bit the
completely
bullet.
fair. Yeah, exactly. And that's completely fair. That's good. And there's nothing wrong with it. So,
Indeed. So, shall we talk a bit about some cars then as well, since we brand
yeah,
ourselves
let's
as
do it.
a as a corporate and automotive podcast.
Yes, I mean the word piston is in our brand name. So,
Yeah, yeah. So we
yeah.
might as well do it. Um,
So, which car would you like to be stuck on the Autobahn this week, Bogdan, waiting in traffic?
well, unlike you, I'm not taking the autobahn route to work, so I do have a bit of a more scenic route. So my route actually moves.
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you what car I wouldn't want to be stuck in this week. I wouldn't want to be stuck in a Mini Cooper S this week. Uh, given that mine's in the garage right now for not working reasons. So yeah, on one
Oh
hand,
man.
I would like to be in that car knowing it moves and it goes places, but
Yeah.
also right now I wouldn't want to be in that car or anywhere near it. But I think, you know, what car would I want to drive? And I'm gonna say something controversial, like because this has also surprised me when I thought about it.
Yeah.
I think this week I might wanna just, rock it off in fashion and turn up in a asshole like Mercedes, like a E class or an S class, something like that. Like just
Hey,
something
so
big and
you
stupid.
just officially in public called me an asshole because I drive an E-Class.
Oh,
Thanks
shit,
so
right.
much, Bogdan. I appreciate it.
No, no, no. I didn't call you an asshole. I said the car
Oh, of
is an
course
asshole.
not.
The car has
Sure.
asshole attitude, and I feel like
Sure it does.
that's what I
Yes.
want to project out there. Like the big
Okay.
middle finger of cars. And
Okay.
I said that as someone who traditionally doesn't really like Mercedes that much.
Okay.
I can appreciate them for their engineering capabilities, and for sure they're great cars. I
Yeah.
just never resonated with their vibe. Just like I said, I think they're too assholish in nature and too entitled for me. Like when I look at
Oh
the Mercedes in the
man.
parking lot, it has a very snobby face. When I look at it, it's like it if cars had a look, Mercedes would have the look of I'm better than you, and that's what Mercedes is say to me. But on a Monday morning, I would like to show up to work in a Mercedes, just being like, you know what, F it, I really don't care. I'm enjoying my life right now.
Oh man. What a What a hammer blow. Thanks for that.
Always here for you, mate.
All right. Even though we just called ourselves petrol heads last week and this week, I'm gonna go with something controversial as well.
Don't tell me you're going for a Tesla.
No, not a
Okay,
Tesla.
okay.
Actually, I wouldn't mind a Tesla. Honestly, yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's not go into politics, but
I think we
no,
just
but
lost the
close.
two listeners that we had. Thank you.
That's okay. We'll get two more from the other side of the political spectrum. No, I what I had in mind, I mean, you were on track with Tesla. What I would want to drive, or what I would want to be stuck on the autobahn traffic, is a one of those new Renault 5 electric cars. You know what I'm
Ooh.
talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I quite
Dude,
like those as
honestly,
well.
yeah, honestly, literally yesterday I was coming back from the supermarket in the evening after buying some groceries, and one like drove literally in front of me very slow in the supermarket car park, and it was this nice indigo blue colored with like black trim everywhere, and my God, it looks amazing. Seriously, like, and I went home and I hadn't paid much attention because I really don't pay much attention to electric cars. I just like read the headlines or just read like the gist of it and then leave it there. But
Mm-hmm.
I went home and I watched a couple of YouTube videos and read some reviews. My God, that thing is fantastic, and I want to drive it. I'm honestly even considering. I mean, I can't buy it. I can't afford it, or I don't want to buy it right now. But I am genuinely considering going to a Renault dealership somewhere nearby and asking if I can do a test drive for like 2 hours
Okay.
or like one full charge because it doesn't cost anything. So
Remind me, what's the rough horsepower on that thing? Because I fully agree with you. It does look really, really nice. Like
really cool. Yeah, it
I think,
does.
I've always been a fan of the resto mod trend that's been coming in the last few years.
Correct.
You know,
Yeah.
there's you see a lot of like 80s and 90s cars that were
Designs. Yeah.
badass looking vehicles now coming back with a bang. And I
Correct.
know there is a company out there in Germany who's doing a resto mod of the Mercedes.
GE.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I know. I know
that
that
was a
company as well. Yeah.
that was a badass
It's
project.
spectacular. Yeah, exactly. And the Singer Porsche in California.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that's a gem. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And no, even the car, right? Like I was thinking, like, okay, you drive a Mini, and I was thinking if I were to buy a new Mini, some of these cars now you can only buy them as electric, especially the small ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a comparison review between Mini Cooper Electric and this Renault 5 because they're approximately the same size.
Yeah,
Oh man, the Renault 5 killed it on range, killed it on like the driving fun, killed it on so many different things.
and it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
looks
okay, it doesn't
new
have the,
and fresh, even though it's a
yeah, it looks
design
new
of
and
a
fresh, but it's
40-year-old
still
car.
exactly. It's so fantastic. I don't know, man. Like I'm really not an electric car person, but I really want to go test drive that thing. No jokes.
So what we're basically ending on is that half automotive-ish podcast sums up that the ideal cars for this week are either a broken down Mini Cooper, an asshole-ish Mercedes E-Class, or a full electric Renault 5. Great.
Yes, that's what we're
That
telling. That's what we're saying.
I think on that note we should shut up and retreat into a corner and think about what we just done.
I know, and let people,
Judge us.
yeah, judge us and be in bewildered and in confusion, state of confusion.
Yep, I think
Fair
that's what
enough.
we're good at. Uh,
Exactly.
all right, so in
All
that
right.
case, assuming someone still wants to tune in next week for another episode after this disappointing ending, we will be back next week with more topics and even crazier, weirder takes on cars and corporate politics. And
Exactly.
yeah,
And more random shenanigans and bitching and moaning.
definitely a lot more bitching and moaning. I can feel that coming.
Yes. All
All
right.
right,
We shall list it down and go through it and vent out.
for sure. So, wishing
All right.
everyone a good
On
week
that
ahead,
note,
and yeah,
should
time
we
to log
say
off.
the
Hmm?
say what is it? Like, subscribe, and comment.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because last
I
week we
never thought
completely forgot to
I
mention that
never
we're.
I never thought I was gonna say that ever in my life. But yes, like, subscribe, and comment.
And don't
We
forget
we
to,
we welcome your input as well if you're listening to this.
indeed, and we are now officially live on Instagram and YouTube at Corporate Pistons. So easy to find
Yes,
us. We just need to remember to actually mention it, not like last week's episode. So
did we
yeah,
forget? Oh God.
oh yeah,
Hey,
completely.
hey, our processes are still being set up. We have no excuse. It's okay.
Indeed, we do. And that's why you need well set up processes in the corporate world.
Processes, exactly. See? To avoid shit like this.
Exactly. Okay, so
On
thank you very
that
much for
note,
listening.
have a great weekend to everyone, and I'll speak to you later, Bogdan.
Yeah, speak to you later. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.